This possibly could be a taboo topic for some. Maybe you're going through something with the same relative moral equivalency as I am. I'm trying to understand what it takes to be a good Christian. And I have failed miserably through most of my life. And I wouldn't claim that I'm a servant of God. I would claim that I am a benefactor of God's grace upon the occasion that he deems it worthy to bestow that upon me. And I am grateful. But I don't live a perfect life. And I don't think the Lord's expectation is that I do such. I think he wants me to learn from my mistakes. I think he wants to embrace my iniquity. I think he wants me to be patient and compassionate to those around me. And most importantly, unequivocally, wants my love. And the good news is that it will be returned. I'm thinking of a conversation that took place last night when I was live, when I said I will not pray for Joe Biden. That it's Joe Biden's responsibility to pray for his own soul, not mine. And of course, the proverb started to be cast upon me that I'm supposed to love my enemy and pray for my enemy. And if I do so, that burning coal will be placed upon their heads and all these other things. And I don't believe that if I pray for Joe Biden, that I want burning coals placed upon his head, or the euphemism of anything or a derivative of anything such. I simply want Joe Biden to go away. Very similar to Jimmy Carter when I was younger. And I would hear my father espouse things about Jimmy Carter. And if you remember watching the show about 2 years ago, actually longer than that, it was almost 4, I explained to you that Joe Biden would be the worst president in U.S. history, and his legacy would be synonymous with Carter, but worse. And we got everything and that. From botched attempts to exodus from the embassy to Afghanistan, to inflation, to it's transitory, to mass migration and unfettered access on the border, which took place, from gas prices to the world's economy, to our overall disposition towards the world and our geopolitical standing and stage. He was worse in every single way. And Jimmy Carter was actually fantastic outside of his presidency when it came to his impact from geopolitics and influencing foreign leaders and humanitarian aid. Joe Biden's legacy will be that he lied to the American people, castigated aspersions against every single person who did not agree with him. And I can't find myself to pray for him when my prayers are better suited for my nephew or the listeners who grace our presence every night with their kindness and their compassion and love and loyalty, to my family members and friends that need those prayers. Because the prayers that I would castigate upon Joe Biden would be false. And it would require me to lie. It would require me to do something that was based in sin and something I truly did not believe. I don't want Joe Biden harmed. I don't want him to meet his demise. I simply want him to go away. The damage that he has created is enough. I will not pray for somebody and all of a sudden feel empathy for them simply because they lied to us for 4 years about a diagnosis that they knew about, and we all know they knew. They told us that it was deep fake media, him falling and him stumbling and forgetting everything and having the 1,000-yard stare, but never having served in the military, lying about his child dying in Iraq, telling us that inflation wasn't there, telling us that the food prices and gas prices were all a figment of our imagination and that the economy was perfect because the stock market was good, telling us that Afghanistan was Donald Trump's fault, even though Donald Trump made sure that for 18 months we didn't lose one American life. Telling us that the border was secure, telling us that his son was an upstanding human being who never purchased an illegal firearm, lied on a federal document, evaded taxes, did cocaine in the White House, had pictures of underage children and hookers and prostitutes on his personal computer. That the Russian hoax was just that. It wasn't a hoax. It was Donald Trump colluding with Russia, spending millions upon millions, $47 million on the Mueller investigation. The DOJ raiding Mar-a-Lago, witch hunts all over from Letitia James. Come on. We remember the raids at Mar-a-Lago. We also remember his secret documents that he had in his house and said that he had turned them in 5 times. Making statements that we got them all. Oh, but wait a second. We forgot about these in Pennsylvania. Oh, wait, we forgot about these at the college campus I worked at. The man is a habitual liar. The man is a sinner beyond reproach. And I'm not going to waste my prayers on him. Is it sad that he has cancer? Yes, cancer is a horrible and terrible thing, and I don't wish it upon my worst enemy, but I also am not going to go ahead and pray when I don't believe what I'm praying for. That is bearing false witness, in my opinion. So my definition of a Christian is that you are Christian to those who return in kind. And if somebody is lost or they're astray, then yes, it's your responsibility as a good Christian to try to shine a light on them and help them understand that there's something bigger than this mortal coil, that God's grace truly is infinite and it is love. But I'm not going to advocate for evil. I'm not going to advocate for the devil. And my enemies are my enemies for a reason. They are not my enemies who then become my friends. You don't steal from me. You don't lie from me. You don't rob from me. You don't take soldiers' lives, 13 veterans' lives. You don't lock people up behind a wall where millions upon millions of Americans have their rights taken away. You don't call us Nazis and extremists. You don't arrest parents for questioning what's going on in the school. You don't do these things. That is your soul, and it's your responsibility to save it. I recommend that Joe Biden puts his hands together, and I recommend people in America who truly can do it with a straight face do that. But for me, I'm going to save my prayers for the people who truly deserve them, the people who will return it in kind, the people who actually believe and love in God, and don't sit there with a wiry smile for 48 years and steal from American people, and then we're supposed to play the violin when that person's time comes to pay the piper. Folks, you can watch us at 7 o'clock tonight. I appreciate you doing that. That's Eastern Standard Time across all channels at The Dumb Show. Thanks so much.